Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, beautiful people of AKT. Good morning from wherever you're listening to us. You're welcome to Today in the Dailies, happening in the studios of 24 News Radio and TV. My name is Bukola Comfort Dada, and with me is
Ayaba Karina Wari.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We have the following newspaper headline. I have the Nigerian Tribune.
I have the Daily Independent newspaper.
I have the Nation.
And I have the Punch newspaper.
And I have the Guardian newspaper. Thank you for joining us once again. From the Nigerian Tribune, we have concerns among businesses over new tax regime. Also, Nigeria's inflation drops to 14.45%. Police to resume tinted glass permits enforcement January 2. Why Buhari had no favor successor, Bichi DGDSS. 2026 budget. Senators demand more answers. And Supreme Court affirms President's power to declare emergency rules. If any of this news interests you, you can pick up the Nigerian Tribune for more details of the news.
From the Daily Independent newspaper, this major headline says airlines justify sky-high fares amid public backlash. Supreme Court rules presidents can declare emergency rules, suspend elected officials. Malami alleges bias, asks EFCC chairman to step aside from probe. Inflation drops for 8 consecutive months to 14.5%. Reps intervene in Dangote NNDPRA rift. I didn't say South should produce president in 2027, El Rufai. To battle terrorism, FG procures MRAP vehicles, armored fleet. How coalition built with Buhari removes sitting president by Tinubu. Alleged 2.2 billion naira fraud Ngige to spend more days in prison. If any of this news interests you, you can pick up the Daily Independent newspaper for more details.
From the Nation newspaper, Buhari didn't name successor to save life, keep APC intact. Still on the newspaper headlines, boost for disposable income as inflation drops to 14.5%. Supreme Court, President has power on emergency order. Still on the Nation newspaper headline, virus bandits footage results on inter-agency tension. Police to resume enforcement of tinted glasses permits January 2nd. If you find any of this news interesting, you can pick up the Nation newspaper for more details.
And from the Punch newspaper here, it says, petrol battlefield, Dangote importance locked in brutal price war. Ngige, EFCC clash over missing passports in London. Buhari believed Aso Rock gossip, one planned killing him. Aisha. You can pick up the Punch newspaper for more details.
And lastly, from the Guardian newspaper, we have Supreme Court verdicts on emergency rule on settled polity, power structure. Tinubu lost Buhari legacy, Virtue at biography launch. And finally, on the Guardian newspaper headline, Senate flame multiple budgets, raises FIRS 2026 target to 35 trillion naira. Any of this news interests you, you can pick up the Guardian newspaper for more details. Now the news in details. And this news is coming from the Nation newspaper. Buhari didn't name successor to save life. Keep APC intact. Former President Muhammadu Buhari's maturity, restraint, tact, and wisdom shaped the succession politics within the All Progressive Party (APC). Facts around this were made public yesterday through a book on the life and times of the late president presented in Abuja. Omole is the Director General of the Institute for Police and Security Policy Research, IPSPR. In this book, former Director General of the DSS, Yusuf Bichi, sheds light on why the late former president refused to openly anoint a successor ahead of the 2022 presidential primary of the ruling APC. Buhari didn't name successor to save life, keep APC intact. If you find this news interesting, you can pick up the Nation newspaper for more details on the news.
So because Buhari didn't outrightly come out to name a successor, that doesn't mean that back end he didn't approve a successor, and he's doing it to save lives, really.
That's serious.
Anyway, from the Punch newspaper, petrol battlefield, Dangote importers locked in brutal price war. Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector has descended into what industry players describe as a full-blown price war following the decision by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery to slash the gantry price of premium motor spirit petrol. The move has triggered massive losses for fuel importers, depot owners, and retail marketers, even as the refinery itself admits it is bleeding financially. Findings by the Punch show that the petrol importers are on the verge of losing as much as 100.48 billion naira monthly after the Dangote refinery reduced its gantry price from 828 naira per litre to 699 naira. At the same time, the refinery is also projected to lose about 91 billion naira in a month as direct consequence of the price cut, underscoring the intensity of the competition currently reshaping Nigeria's downstream oil market. While many Nigerians have welcomed the price reduction as a major relief, especially during the Yuletide season, fuel marketers running filling stations across the country say they are counting heavy losses as they would be forced to sell existing stocks purchased at higher prices below cost. The development has exposed deep fault lines in the deregulated petroleum market, with winners and losers emerging almost simultaneously. Petrol battlefield Dangote importers locked in brutal price war. You can pick up the Punch newspaper for more details. This is really crazy. The facts are, even though the Dangote wants to help us reduce our fuel, we could see that it's still affecting other people. So as much as we are happy for the relief, the reduction of the fuel prices bringing to us, we still care about the other people, the importers of the fuel that are going to lose this huge amount of money. But at the same time, I think this 102 billion naira is not so much of money compared to what they've been making and profiting off the increase in fuel price before. So
Exactly.
yeah, even though it's a win for us and a loss for them, I think they can deal with it.
Yes, of course. From the Nation newspaper, viral bandits footage results in inter-agency tension. Stakeholders familiar with the circumstances surrounding the recent arrest of individuals labeled as bandits have attributed the ensuing controversy to poor coordination and rivalry between the Office of the National Security Advisor (ONSA) and the military. Sources who spoke on the matter said the arrested youths were linked to activities allegedly coordinated through the Kwara state government, but the situation escalated due to what they describe as avoidable institutional rivalry. According to them, this rivalry led to hasty action, including the premature release of information to the media instead of thorough internal investigation. Viral bandits footage results of interagency tension. For more details on this news, you can pick up the Nation newspaper.
And from the Punch newspaper here, it says Ngige EFCC clash over missing passport in London. The Federal Capital Territory High Court in Gwarimpa, Abuja on Monday adjourned until Thursday, December 18th for ruling on the bail application of the former Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, who is being prosecuted for alleged 2.2 billion naira contract fraud. The Monday proceedings before Justice Miriam Hassan featured intense arguments between the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the defense over whether Ngige should be granted bail after allegedly breaching earlier administrative bail conditions. The AFCC lawyer Silvanus Taher San alleged that the former minister failed to return his passport after a medical trip abroad, breaching the conditions of the administrative bail granted to him previously. He contended that Ngige returned from the trip on November 14th without presenting the travel document to the commission as required. He noted that while Ngige claimed to have lost the passport in London, he only filed an affidavit of loss in Nigeria rather than in the UK, where the incident occurred. Ngige EFCC clash over missing passports in London. You can pick up the Punch newspaper for more details. But do you think there's any politician that has not embezzled money? Because we can see from this case of Ngige, and over time, all our politicians are always having one problem or the other with EFCC because of embezzlement of funds. So, what do you think, Bola?
Well, me, I still believe there are still some politicians that have not done that. Well, they might not be, or should I just say, they didn't embezzle to the point in which some people they can do that on a low key and you will not even notice because of what they have done, like the work they have done. But then
So 2.2 billion naira. Like,
that's
what do
that's
we intend to
huge.
do with 2.2
That's
billion naira?
that's
Meanwhile,
huge.
our country is in debt, our country is going through serious economic problems, and then you still feel the need to embezzle 2.2 billion naira. Wow,
That's
that's a
huge.
whole lot. They should deal with him accordingly. And this one that he's lying that his passport has gotten missing, so they will not see his passport. Or what does he want to
I
do?
don't
He
even
wants to
understand.
run
Does
away.
how does passport and the money is still correlate? I
Maybe
don't know.
they are seizing his passport so that if he's been arrested or detained, he can run away. Do you get? Maybe he was planning that, oh, before they will come to arrest me, or when they find out that what I've done is the truth, then I can now run away. But if he's not with his passport, he
There's no
cannot run
how you
away.
can.
Yes, so I think that's why he's refusing to submit this passport to the EFCC. Wow, that's their own. I hope the court does what they are supposed to do and bring justice when necessary.
All right, from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, concern among businesses over new tax regime. There are palpable fears among business owners, especially operators of small and medium-sized enterprise (SMEs), over what lies ahead as implementation of the new tax regime begins on January 1st, 2026. Many of the concerns center on the likelihood of abuse by the state and local government agents, with fears that the new tax law will be used as tools for harassment and extortion of businesses that are yet to fully understand the scope and implementation of the reform. Responding to these worries, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, said the new regime is designed to eliminate not encourage such practices. Concern among businesses over new tax regime. For more details on this news, you can pick up the Nigerian Tribune.
This will really affect the small businesses because how much are they earning that you still want to take tax from them? Meanwhile, the big people, the big industries take loans that don't require them paying tax, and then they make more money and get away with without paying tax, while you still want to impose tax on these small businesses, the SMEs, the MSMEs. I don't even know if Nigeria actually cares about the poor and those struggling and those that are still earning like little compared to the rich. I think every Nigerian reform always finds a way to favor the rich.
We hope that the Nigerian government review this tax of
This
a
law,
thing
yeah.
because it will not be favorable to the small and medium-sized enterprise at all.
And that's the truth. So they should do something about it. It's not just bringing laws or reforms as you deem fit. How is it affecting the life of the people that you actually care about? How are the laws and the reforms you are bringing affecting the people that voted you into power? That's your main aim and that's your main purpose being there as our leader, not to punish us but to make life easier for us. I think so. Anyway, from the Daily Independent newspaper here, we have airlines justify sky high rate fares amid public backlash. When passengers grumble about the steep airfares, they are usually pointing at the ticket price, the visible end of the line. What they rarely see is the sprawling, brittle machinery that produces that price. Imported fuel, dollar dominated leases, overseas maintenance checks, regulated airport levies, and the fragile economic of running an airline in an unstable currency environment. People think we just sell seats, says Mr. Noel Ongala, Chief Commercial Officer at Airpeace. What we actually sell is operational reliability in an environment where one fuel spike, one naira wobble, or one regulatory change can wipe out a month's profits. That line, blunt, simple, and true, encapsulates why fares in Nigeria often move in abrupt, unwelcome jumps. Airlines justify sky high fares amid public backlash. You can pick up the Daily Independent newspaper for more details on this. And I think what he's saying is the truth. Sometimes we just blame these airlines forgetting that they are in a country of unstable economic and economy, and also like the laws that the government bring they sometimes may be unfavorable to them, and then the tax they may have to pay or the things they have to do, the checks they have to do. But I still don't think that it should make the price high, but the rate at which the airline tickets, even in domestically, even in Nigeria, from a state to a state, the price is too much. So we understand all this that he has said, but they should still review the tickets, yeah, so that it can be affordable for everyone or anyone. Especially now that the roads are bad, there's bandits, everyone wants to fly, everyone wants to use the safer roads, and when you make it harder for people, I wonder what that is.
I hope it's be reviewed.
Yeah, and the prices should come down a little bit so people can go for December, Christmas, New Year enjoyment, especially now that the peak period in traveling. Yeah.
All right, thank you for being with us. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. This is T today in the dailies.
The world is closer than you think. Welcome to 24 News Radio and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise information at every moment. With our seasoned reporters and sharp broadcasters, we dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage. Stay connected with 24 News Radio and Television for breaking news and current happenings across the globe. 24 News Radio and Television. The world is closer than you think.
Thank you and welcome back. From the nine from the Guardian newspaper, Supreme Court's verdicts on emergency rule unsettle polity power structure. Emergency power could become a potent political tool in the run-up to 2027. Recall that shortly after the president declared a state of emergency in Rivers State on March 18, 2025, and announced the appointment of a sole administrator to oversee the affairs of the state, some People's Democratic Party (PDP) governors approached the Supreme Court to challenge the propriety of the action. They sought a declaration that the president acted ultra-vires by dismantling democratic structures, including the removal of the governor, Mr. Similai Fubara, his deputy, and the entire membership of the state legislature. The Apex Court determined the matter in a split decision by seven-member panel. In the majority judgment of six, read by Justice Muhammad Idris, the court held that the president acted in compliance with Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, which empowers him to deploy extraordinary measures to restore normalcy where a state of emergency is declared. Supreme Court's verdict on emergency rule unsettled polity, power structure. For more details on this news, you can pick up the Guardian newspaper.
In fact, what were the PDP governors expecting? Do you think that the courts will put the presidency
Above,
as in
they put them above the
president?
president.
I mean, what are they doing? Normally, even without going to court, you should know that the president is the only one above the law. And so, what do you expect, honestly? Even though he's wrong, the court will find a way to make him right.
Yes,
Yes,
obviously.
so yeah, let's not even talk about that matter. The president is right for now. Yeah, so Malami alleges bias, asks EFCC chairman to step aside from probe. This is from the Daily Independent newspaper. Former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami San, has asked the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, to rescue himself from any investigation or prosecution involving him, alleging bias, personal vendetta, and political persecution. In a statement issued by his media aide, Mohammed Bello Doka, Malami said the EFCC actions against him, including his detention and planned persecution, are politically motivated following his recent defection to the African Democratic Congress (ADC). Malami claimed the investigation is now not based on law enforcement concerns but on a long-standing personal animosity between him and the EFCC chairman. He recalled that while serving as Attorney General, the federal government set up the Justice Ayo Salami Judicial Commission of Inquiry to probe alleged corruption and abuse of office within the EFCC. According to Malami, the current EFCC chairman served as secretary to that panel and was mentioned in the commission's report. He said a part of Salami report was publicly available, raised serious issues against the EFCC chairman, including recommendations that could have led to persecution. Malami argued that the current probe against him shows signs of retaliation, citing what he described as illegal detention, media trial, and procedural abuses. Malami alleges bias, asks EFCC chairman to step aside from probe. This is from the Daily Independent newspaper. So this is a case of do me, I do you. Yes, because the former Attorney General Malami, he's saying that the EFCC chairman is accusing him or prosecuting him based on their past altercations that they've had. He said that when he was asked to probe the EFCC back then, there were cases or things that would have put the EFCC chairman to to prison or something. But then now it's time for the EFCC chairman to now retaliate and do him back. Basically, that's what he's saying. And so he's asking the EFCC chairman to step aside.
Or is that really necessary?
Yeah, he cares about it because he thinks this way because he thinks that the EFCC chairman is also like him. So if it was his own turn, maybe he would have also dealt with the EFCC chairman the same way. So that's why he thinks that the EFCC chairman is out to get him. But that one, I think he's finding a way to just look for something to escape this prosecution and detention. Yeah, don't you think so? That he's just looking for a
Yes,
reason.
reason, yeah.
and he has picked on this one. So let's see, even though the EFCC chairman steps out, that does not mean that he will get freedom. If he's found guilty, he will be dealt accordingly. We hope so. Okay.
All right, this last news from my side is coming from the Nigerian Tribune Business. Inflation outperforms Tinubu's target eases to 14.5%. Nigeria's headline inflation rate eased to 14.5% in November 2025, down from 16.05% recorded in October. According to the latest Consumer Price Index (CPI) report released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), the bureau stated that the figure represented a decrease of 1.6 percentage points month on month and marks a significant moderation compared to the same period last year. In November 2025, the headline inflation rate eased to 14.45% relative to the October 2025 headline inflation rate of 16.0%. Looking at the movement, the November 2025 headline inflation rate shows a decrease of 1.6 percentage points compared to the October 2025 rate, the MBS said. Inflation outperforms Tinubu targets, eases to 14.5%. For more details on those news, you can pick up the Nigerian Tribune.
That's actually true. We can see a decrease in inflation a whole lot. When we
Yes.
talk about the prices of goods, they
Yes,
really
especially
come
food.
down. Yeah, they really
Yes.
come down, and even compared on like other times during this Yuletide season, this celebration season, we could see things always go high, things always increase. But this year is quite different. Yeah,
We thank God and the government for that.
yeah, we thank God.
At least it's a relief that everybody will enjoy this
Nice.
season.
Yes. And so from the Punch Sports, it says how poor form transfers cost Eagle Stars AFCON call-up. When Super Eagles head coach Eric Chelle named his final 28-man squad for the 2025 AFCON in Morocco, the list confirmed several high-profile omissions following transfers that stall momentum or prolong dips in form. Olamide Abe examines key absentees who were victims of the disrupted club situations, limited minutes or declining output. It started with Cristianos Uche, Crystal Palace. Uche's omission is closely tied to the stalled Premier League transition following his deadline day loan move from Getafe to Crystal Palace with an obligation to buy reportedly worth 17.3 million euros. The switch followed a breakout season in Spain in which he recorded 10 goal contributions and earned a senior call-up, memorably converting the winning penalty against Jamaica at the Unity Cup. How poor form transfers cost Eagle Stars AFCON call-ups. You can pick up the Punch Sports and Punch newspaper for more of these details. Yeah. Now let's take a recap on the headlines. From the Punch, we said petrol battlefield, Dangote importers locked in brutal price war. It says in the day EFCC clash over missing passports in London. And again from the Daily Independent, I read that airlines justify sky high fare amidst public backlash. And from the Daily Independent, I read that Malami alleges bias asks EFCC chairman to step aside from probe. And lastly, from the Punch Spot, I read that how Pom form transfers cost Eagle Stars AFCON collapse.
Right, from the Nation newspaper, we have Buhari didn't name successor to save life. Keep APC intact. Also from the Nation newspaper, viral bandit footage results on inter-agency tension. From the Nigerian Tribune, we read that concerns among businesses over new tax regime. From the Guardian newspaper, Supreme Court's verdict on emergency rules on settled polity, power structure. And lastly, from the Nigerian Tribune, inflation outperforms Tinubu's target, eases to 14.5%.
That's all we have from you today, from Today in the Dailies on 24 News Radio and TV. I am Aiba Karina Wari,
And I am Bukola Comfort Dada.
thank you for always joining us. Till we meet again tomorrow morning, we hope to see you on Today in the Dailies. Have a beautiful day ahead. Bye.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria.